What's up, this is Bobby Johnson and you tuned into hip hop since 1987.
Shout my hip hop since 1987, niggas. Hip hop since 1987.com.
Hip hop since 1987. In this edition of Behind the Beats, we have a special guest with us. He's from overseas, but right now he's touched down in Atlanta. He goes by the name of Bobby Johnson. How you doing today, good brother?
Doing good.
Now, for those who may have been asleep under a rock, you produced one of the hottest tracks, I'll say, of the tail end of 2013 and moving along in 2014 for an artist who goes by the name of Q, entitled OG Bobby Johnson. So I gotta ask, how did that record come about?
It was actually pretty simple. I sent it to him via email, track. So the similarity in the names, like between my name and the track, came like this. Q said that a couple of days before he recorded the track, he was watching South Central with the character Bobby Johnson. Then he went to the studio, went through his email, saw my name, so it kind of stuck out to him because of Bobby Johnson, because he watched that movie a couple of days earlier. So he heard the track, heard my tag, and so he just started playing around, saying Bobby Johnson. So yeah, this is kind of why the similarity, exists between my producer name and
I dig that. I know for a long while, many folks didn't even realize, that the producer behind the track's name was actually Bobby Johnson. They just heard the OG Bobby Johnson, OG Bobby Johnson.
They actually thought Q's name.
Yeah. So I gotta ask, how did you find out about Q? Being overseas and Q, popping in Atlanta and things of that nature. How did you exactly find out about Q's movie?
Internet.
Okay.
I'm regularly checking mixtapes to see what's out, what's new, what I like. And so he had the Young Hitter record with the Migos. It was pretty much in every mixtape I heard.
Definitely.
So I really liked that, and when I went on Twitter to see, to do my research on him, I actually was surprised to see that at this point he only like 2,000, 3,000 followers, which was pretty surprising to me because I really thought that this time he had a strong presence in the track. He has his voice,
which is very distinct.
Exactly, and he's very unique, I would say. So so actually when I went to this page, saw the 2,000, 3,000 followers, I was actually excited because I thought I might have a chance. I might have a chance to get with them. So, went well.
Well, I gotta ask you, growing up in Germany, how did you exactly find your love for the hip hop culture, for the hip hop sound? What is the hip hop culture like in Germany, and how did you find your love for our mainstream U.S. hip hop sound?
Well, the hip hop scene is very, very vital, very diverse over there. Of course, you got cycles. Sometimes things are moving quicker, and you got more innovation. Sometimes it's a bit slower. Right now over there, it's really fresh stuff is coming up. It's really moving. Stuff is renewing. So it's really interesting right now, and I like to follow that as a fan, as a spectator. Second question, exactly. I'm always, what I like about music and what I like about hip hop is I think I really like the energy and I really like the innovation. I mean, I also listen to other genres of music. I don't just listen to hip hop. And if you compare it, you always got the rawness in hip hop. And this is what I really like about it. And this is what I like about trap too. Because I mean, in trap, of course, you got the corny stuff, so to say, but you got that in every genre. But I feel like trap, I mean, at its essence, it's really to me, one of the most innovative forms of hip hop, music genre right now. So this is why I, 4 years ago or so, I started not that, two years ago maybe I started to get into trap. And yeah, that's basically how it happened.
When you were growing up, who were some hip-hop artists or producers that you listened to who kind of inspired you?
Of course, I mean, this was 10 years ago. I've been making music for 10 years. So back then you had all the legends, so to say. You know, you had Dr. Dre, all the people that are still doing it though. Dr. Dre, the Neptunes, Timbaland is actually a huge inspiration to me.
Okay.
Scott Storch, Needles, I really like this stuff, still do.
Okay.
Yeah, these are some guys that tell my head.
Would you say any of those producers you kind of handle your sound from, or do you kind of, you know, do you make sure that you have a distinct sound and you feel like that's something that you
Well, yeah, the names that I just, you know, the people that I just named, probably you won't really, like my sound won't really, it doesn't really sound like them. But of course the landscape has changed. So back then, like if you listen to my stuff from 7 years ago, of course it doesn't sound like this. It sounds, you will hear a lot of Timbaland influence in my sound from 7 years ago. So if you listen to me from 7 years ago and now, you won't really think that both beats are from me actually. So it changes a lot, and I think it's a good thing though, because I mean in 7 years, if my sound still is the same, I went somewhere wrong, you know,
Yeah,
I went wrong somewhere. So exactly. So I think you always gotta evolve, and you know. So these guys that I just named, they laid the foundation for my understanding, my perception of producing and making beats. So and right now, of course, I got other influences as well. Like for example, all the you know compositions right now that's out, and also like I mentioned earlier, I make sure to listen to other genres to you know to get inspiration. But right now it's not really like so much single guys or specific persons that inspire me, but more like single tracks or single sounds actually. So I try to gain inspiration from as many sources as I can.
Okay. Now OG Bobby Johnson is definitely, as we mentioned, a smash over here in the US. You know, it's top the Billboard charts. It can almost be heard in any stereo system by any passing car on the freeway, highways and byways. What was the track doing overseas? You know, like, do you get the love, and does the track get the love over in Germany that it does in America?
Well, I guess hip hop fans, they probably heard about it.
Okay.
But the mainstream, for example, radio landscape, you can't really compare it because it's right here in the U.S. I think the U.S. you probably got one of the biggest urban markets like in the world. I don't know about the world, but if you compare it to Germany, it's way bigger over here. Over there, you got more like really hip hop pop crossover. That's what you hear about hip hop stuff in Germany. It's more like, you know, crossover stuff. Like, yeah. And so this, for example, to the radio landscape in Germany, it doesn't fit. It's way too hard.
Okay.
But hip hop fans, I guess
they know about it. I dig it. Now we gave mention it several times already. You're from Germany, but we're over here in Atlanta right now. Is this your first time in the States?
Well, I've been here when I was 5 years old.
Okay.
Like I said, I guess it doesn't count. So now I'm here. I can do stuff without asking my mommy.
I dig that.
You know, so yeah. Actually.
Who are some artists that you've worked with so far? Just a few, you know, that you've had the opportunity to work with, or you're looking forward to possibly working with while you're here.
Right. Like who I worked for the Q track. Actually, my first mixtape placement happened with Ransom.
Okay.
It was on his Winter's Coming mixtape. I think that's.
Okay.
So then later I did have some tracks with Neef Buck, which you guys covered in your
Yes, sir.
Very appreciated. I worked with Tito Lopez. I worked with some guys from LA. They called the Rangers.
Okay.
So it's really been a couple of guys, but of course Q has been the biggest to date. And you know, right now I've been here for a week, and I've had some sessions, and hopefully you know you'll hear.
Okay. We'll be definitely looking forward to that. We'll be looking forward to that 100%. Now I gotta ask you, being a producer, are there any different software plugs or VSTs that you've come to love over the years?
Yeah, right now I work with Cubase, but I've been talking to some guys about that, and we all agree that you know the software that you use, it's pretty much like a blank page. So it really depends on you, how you feel it, and of course on your tools as well. But yeah, it really depends on you. So I use Cubase, but I guess I could also have Fruit Loops. I already did work with Fruit Loops before Cubase. Yes, some plugins I use. I mean, do you want to hear names? Or?
Yeah.
Okay, I use Silent, I use Massive, I use I like Contact, Depth, this stuff you can put into there. But really, Silent is like my go-to plugin for you producers and stuff. It's pretty fast, which is important to me, that you can load it fast and to keep the workflow up. And
so what's a typical production session like for you? Like, do you like to be alone during your production time? Do you have a lot of people around you? Do you have to listen to a certain sound to get into a mood? What's a typical production session like for you?
Actually, over here I got, of course, into different sessions and different environments. And yesterday I was at a session where it was pretty crowded. I had many people in the room where I should create. I guess it's cool, but for me, like, it was, you gotta get used to this. So I had to take my headphones, and actually it worked all out. But to me, I mean, I'm used to working alone. And pretty much, like, for example, the OG Bobby Johnson track came together pretty fast, because once I got the melody right, the sounds right, the rest, it just pops up in my head. I can just hear it. So if that makes any sense, like, I can hear the beat, and then my job is to program it fast enough before I forget what it sounds like. You know what I mean? It's like it just inspiration just strikes me, and I have to lay it down. So it's pretty fast. The rough idea is pretty fast. Then what can take time is mixing it, like getting the details right, and getting mix to me is all about making the idea as clear as possible. So if that makes any sense. So this might take some time, and I really like to take my time with this, because it's never good to rush things, because of course sometimes you're really excited about the track and you're trying to get it out, but at the end, like, long term, it really pays off to take your time.
If I was looking to reach out to work with new artists and new talent, what advice would you give me?
I'd give you the advice to make sure your stuff is as good as it can get, like as good as you can get it. Really invest time into that. I mean, when I made the Bobby Johnson track, or when I connected with Q, I had been producing for like 8 or 9 years. Of course, I had small breaks in between, but I mean, all the time I wasn't just sitting down and just quote unquote sitting down and making music, but I did also do my research. I tried to get into mixing. I tried to, learn about hip hop culture as well, which I guess that's not necessary for you being a good producer, but it was interesting for me. But really get into the craft. I think this is, I guess it's important. I think this will benefit us all as listeners as well. Yeah, and then the next step is, I mean, relationships of course are key, but I mean, I made it without actually knowing anyone, like really on a personal basis. So I think if you got quality, I think this is a big help. So, and then what you do, if you're here and you got relationships, that will only help you even further. But if you got the quality, I think you got a big, that's a good thing.
As 2014 moves along, what else can we expect from Bobby Johnson in the future?
Like I said, I'm here actually, so I'm working, getting into sessions, meeting with people, and the aim is to put out more music, put out more good music, hope people like it. So yeah, we'll see.
For those who want to follow you via social media and keep up with your movement, how can they go about doing so?
It's Twitter and Instagram, it's Bobby Johnson BTS.
You don't know what it is, your man El Dorado. This edition of Behind the Beats features Bobby Johnson. Make sure y'all check out for a lot more for Bobby Johnson on HHH1987.com.